Hello, and welcome to another homework help video. This homework help video looks at calculating the unemployment rate for an economy. Before looking at how to find the unemployment rate, let's take a minute to review the terms unemployed workers, the labor force, and the unemployment rate. An unemployed worker is an individual who does not have a job but is actively looking for one. The labor force is the total number of workers in an economy. This includes individuals who are employed and those who are not employed but are actively looking for a job. The unemployment rate is the ratio of unemployed workers to the labor force. Economists express it either as a decimal fraction or as a percentage. For example, the unemployment rate might be expressed as 0.09 or 9%. If the unemployment rate is represented as a percent of the labor force, the formula is the unemployment rate equals the number of unemployed workers divided by the labor force times 100%. If the unemployment rate is represented as a proportion or a decimal fraction of the labor force, the formula is the unemployment rate equals the number of unemployed workers divided by the labor force. Now let's look at a typical problem statement. An economy has a labor force of 95 million workers, and the number of unemployed workers is 4.75 million. What is the unemployment rate? Now let's take a minute to look at how to solve the problem. 1. Write the formula for the unemployment rate. The unemployment rate equals the number of unemployed workers divided by the size of the labor force times 100%. 2. From the problem statement, substitute the number of unemployed workers into the formula. 3. From the problem statement, substitute the size of the labor force into the formula. 4. Divide the number of unemployed workers by the size of the labor force. 5. Multiply by 100%. Now let's find a solution to the problem statement using the process outlined in the previous section. 1. Write the formula for the unemployment rate. For this example, let's use the percentage formula. The unemployment rate equals number of unemployed workers divided by the size of the labor force times 100%. 2. From the problem statement, substitute the number of unemployed workers into the formula. In the example problem statement, the number of unemployed workers is 4.75 million workers. So let's substitute in 4.75 million into the formula for the number of unemployed workers. 3. From the problem statement, substitute the labor force into the formula. In the example problem statement, the labor force is 95 million workers. So let's substitute 95 million into the formula for the labor force. 4. Divide the number of unemployed workers by the size of the labor force. In the example, the number of unemployed workers is 4.75 million, and the labor force has a size of 95 million workers. So dividing 4.75 million by 95 million is 0.05. Fifth, multiply by 100%. The result of dividing the number of unemployed workers by the labor force is 0.05. So multiplying 0.05 by 100% is 5%. So the country's unemployment rate is 5%. This homework help video looked at how to calculate the unemployment rate as a percentage of the labor force. The solution used the formula, yet an employment rate equals the number of unemployed workers divided by the size of the labor force times 100%. If you want to try a practice problem, there's a link to one in the description below. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please put them in the comment section below. Here are some additional videos on related topics. Until the next homework help video, best wishes on your economic studies.